Now, Zelensky was clearly surprised by a 90-minute phone call between Trump and Putin, and the initial conversations we saw from Zelensky were a bit of, yeah, this isn't any way to run the relationship. When you saw him today, when the congressional delegation saw him, how would you say, did anything he said surprise you in terms of his level of comfort with the situation or willingness to criticize, any of that?
I mean, I think he was looking to a bipartisan group of senators to say, hey, we've had a long relationship. We need to make sure that we don't screw this thing up right at the end of the sort of 10-yard line. I think that he
Did it feel like the end? I mean, does he recognize that, yeah, we gotta find a way to end the fighting here?
Look, he's the president of a country that's in the middle of a war, so he's not going to concede that we need to get right to the negotiating table. He's worried about conversations happening without him, right? And I think, I've worked at the Pentagon. I'm a CIA officer by training. Our golden rule is you don't talk about them without them, right? And I think that's what went on last week. And I think, we tried to sort of support him by saying, look, we see this as a bigger issue than just Russia, Ukraine, right? The Chinese are watching everything that's going on here. They're watching American staying power. They're trying to understand, does America actually even care about democracies getting invaded? Or will they kind of roll over eventually? Because that's interesting for them, for Taiwan and a bunch of other places in Asia. And so I think that contextualizing this as a global issue is very important for him, for the senators that have long supported Ukraine. And I think, he is trying to understand the voices coming out of the administration too, right? I think it's still hard to figure out.
Now, you said that China's watching this very closely as well, not just Putin.
Yeah.
Do you think, coming out of this meeting so far, if you're the Chinese, do you feel like you have a world with more opportunity? Or are you worried about the level of instability? How do you think they would gauge this?
Well, certainly when they watch the feed of the vice president's speech and they see that he did not mention Russia or Ukraine once, they could easily say to themselves, great, Trump said he was going to end this no matter what. Trump said he said all kinds of glorious things about Vladimir Putin over the years. Looks like we're on the downswing on this. And American resolve was short-lived. Right?
I completely understand that.
Yeah.
I want to throw another argument at you, see what you think, which is that you've got Trump, who is now pushing von der Leyen and others to talk about 3.54, even 5%. She took that question. Clearly, the Russians and the Chinese, they don't want the Europeans spending that much more on defense and alliance. You don't want the Americans being able to move a whole lot of troops and the materiel to Asia, to another front, which clearly is a shared priority of the Trump administration. Do you think that plays too?
Yes. Look, I think it's good. And I'd have to say it's clear that President Trump's threats are what's moving NATO. That and Putin are what is moving these countries who have not spent as much to spend more, including Germany, where we're sitting right now. I think we all want the Europeans to do more, to be more active in their own defense, to volunteer earlier, to provide more funding and more support to places like Ukraine. We all want that. But I think it all depends on how you view the American role in the world. Do you believe that the United States of America has a unique leadership role? Or are you okay with the Chinese having a leadership role, with a European nation are you okay with kind of a multipolar, like lots of leaders with lots of different agendas?
Can the Americans make that decision?
Even
if they wanted to?
Since World War II, it hasn't just been our decision. You ask any European here, I used to walk into a meeting when I was at the Pentagon, an international meeting, and I'd say, okay, what are our ideas? Let's say we were fighting ISIS in Iraq and Syria. And they'd say, well, you're the United States. Like, tell us what we should be thinking about, right? So whether that's right or wrong, it is, and it has been since World War II. And we make mistakes abroad. We have every right to look at our spending abroad and curtail that if we think it's waste, fraud, abuse, whatever. But I would rather have American leadership role in the world any day over a Chinese leadership role. And I think that's what we're talking about. It's a vacuum that would be left for others to fill.